Golden Stories, the cabin lights were calm, passengers buckled in, but the tension brewing near the cockpit could cut glass. Captain Marcus, a tall, composed black pilot in crisp uniform, walked with quiet authority through the aisle. Instead of respect, the head flight attendant, Karen, stopped him cold. Her lips curled with disgust. "This is the cockpit, sir. Priority crew only. Not for." Her voice dropped venomously. "Outsiders playing dress up." Passengers glanced up, puzzled. Marcus raised an eyebrow, his voice calm. "Excuse me?" Karen doubled down, sneering. "Don't act confused. You think wearing a uniform makes you one of us? This isn't Halloween. Get back to your seat before I call security." Gasps rippled through the cabin. The man she dismissed was the pilot about to fly them across the ocean. Yet Marcus didn't flinch. He just adjusted his cap, the calm in his eyes sharper than any blade. Karen had no clue she'd just picked the wrong storm to stir. Marcus didn't rush to correct her. He let the silence stretch, the weight of her arrogance hanging heavy over the rows of watching passengers. Karen crossed her arms, tapping her pen against the clipboard like she owned the sky. "Sir, this isn't up for debate. Sit down before you embarrass yourself further." A passenger whispered, "Isn't he the pilot?" Another leaned forward, trying to piece together the madness. Karen's smirk only grew. "See, even they're confused. You really fooled them with your little costume." She tilted her chin high, her voice laced with poison. "But a black man flying this plane? Please, let's not get ridiculous." Her words cracked through the cabin like thunder. Some passengers winced, others lowered their eyes, uncomfortable. Marcus remained unmoved, his presence towering without a single word of defense. He simply looked at her, calm, unreadable, and then reached for the cockpit door handle. Karen's laughter was sharp. "Oh, no, no, no. If you think I'm letting you—" She stepped forward, blocking him with her clipboard pressed to his chest. "You don't belong in there." The tension snapped. A little boy in the aisle whispered loudly, "Mommy, why is she yelling at the pilot?" His innocent voice pierced the charade, and heads turned sharply toward Marcus. Karen froze, realizing the room wasn't laughing with her. They were staring at her in disbelief. Yet instead of retreating, she hissed through her teeth, "You'll regret trying to play games with me." Marcus finally spoke, voice low and commanding. "The only game here, Karen, is yours." Karen's face flushed red, but she held her ground, gripping that clipboard like it was a weapon. "I'll have you reported," she spat. "Impersonating flight crew is a federal offense. You'll be in handcuffs before we even take off." Marcus tilted his head, unbothered. His voice was cool, steady. "Handcuffs, huh? Let's see how far you're willing to go." With a steady motion, he slid a leather folder from his chest pocket. The gold wings glinted under the cabin lights, catching every curious eye. The words were unmistakable. "Captain Marcus D. Hayes, Chief Pilot." The cabin erupted in murmurs, disbelief spreading like wildfire. Phones lifted, passengers whispered, "She really thought he wasn't the pilot?" Others shook their heads in disgust. Karen blinked hard, her confidence cracking. She stammered, That doesn't prove anything. People fake IDs every day." Her voice wavered, desperation creeping in. Marcus leaned in slightly, voice low but clear enough for the nearest rows to hear. "Karen, the only fake here is your sense of authority." Her jaw tightened. "You think flashing badges makes you special? You're still—" She stopped herself, the word choking in her throat, but the venom was obvious. Passengers shifted uncomfortably, some glaring directly at her now. The cabin that once felt like her stage was slipping away fast. Marcus didn't push further. He turned toward the cockpit door and said firmly, "Prepare the crew for departure." Karen froze. Crew? Passengers? Everyone realized at once he wasn't just the pilot. He was in command. The air in the cabin turned heavy, all eyes locked on Karen. She swallowed hard, but her pride refused to back down. "Command, don't make me laugh. You may have tricked these people, but you don't give me orders." Marcus paused, his hands still on the cockpit door. Slowly, he turned back, his calmness now carrying an edge that silenced the entire cabin. "Karen," he said evenly, "I don't just command this flight. I command the entire airline." Gasps shot through the rows. Phones snapped photos, recording every second. Marcus reached into his folder again and pulled out another card, glossy black, embossed with gold. "Hayes International Airlines, owner and chief executive officer." Karen's clipboard slipped from her hands, clattering against the floor. Her face drained of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish pulled from water. Passengers erupted in applause, some standing to cheer, others shaking their heads in disgust at her cruelty. The little boy from earlier clapped loudly, grinning. Marcus didn't raise his voice, didn't gloat. He simply looked at her one last time. You judged the uniform, not the man. And today, you judged wrong. Karen stumbled backward, humiliation burning her skin as the crew she once bossed around now stared at her with contempt. Marcus adjusted his cap, entered the cockpit, and with quiet authority closed the door behind him. Golden Stories. If you're new here, like, comment, and subscribe. It's always fun here.